Take it away, Nikki.
Okay, great. Can you guys see the screen okay with the PowerPoints up?
Yes, we can.
Okay, excellent. Okay, so again, thank you. I have the two PowerPoints here that I received. So this is the one for processing passengers at the airport, and this is one for processing passengers at the harbor. So a few of the things that I need to do and did do is take this, create a seamless branded experience. That looks and feels and flows really nicely for the learners. And so that was one of the goals. And then as we go through each of the pieces in the online course, I want to toggle back and forth between the PowerPoint so you can see kind of what I had to do with the PowerPoint. Then again, using it as kind of a learning experience so you guys can help me in the future make sure that the content that I'm putting in is exactly how you want it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and jump to the Buzz Learning platform. So this is a demo experience for me. This is the actual course that I developed. So you will see some other courses on here, but again, that was just for other demos that I do. So from a learner's perspective, essentially, if they were only taking this course, this is the only course card that they would see. Let me make sure I'm in here as a student. I'll jump back and forth between a student. There we go. I was actually in as a teacher. So as a student, a couple of things to note, just so you can kind of understand the platform as we go through. So these are all the courses. It will actually show their start, their end date, their progress, their current score, and things like that as they progress through these courses. There's also a to-do list. So if there is something that they need to do, right now there's nothing due, so it's not going to show up for that particular course, but it will show. It will round up all the courses that they're taking and show that what they need to do and complete. And then also there's an activity stream. So if they have completed something, then they would be able to go in here and see how what they completed, sorry, and if there's any feedback or their scores or things like that. I assume because these are self-paced, they won't be using those very often unless they like using those. Some learners really like using them. But essentially, what they're going to do is we're going to click on the course. So they can click here or anywhere in the course, or they can click down here on activities. This is where the activities are. And then this is where they'd be able to see the grades and their progress as they're moving through. So good. Even if they just click on the course, they can. So then what I did is I actually created some graphics and branded this for the Bahamas Customs specifically. And again, there's happy to feedback if there's anything you guys want changed or think that it could be made better. Just go ahead and let me know. So I just took the liberty of grabbing some graphics and logos and things off of the Customs website, and I used a lot of those and also from the PowerPoint to create a branded experience. And please feel free to stop me at any point if you guys have questions. So essentially, when the learner first comes in here, this is called the landing page. So these are some things that I had grabbed, right? So I had grabbed like welcome, and this is, I think, just off of the website as well. So I wanted to introduce them to the course and introduce them to some of the customs. So again, I don't know if this is what you would want on here. So if this isn't, then you would, need to let me know. But again, I was kind of just pulling from what I thought maybe was correct there. And then I took the objectives from each of the courses that were in the PowerPoints and put them in here so they would know what they're going to learn. And then they would go ahead and click get started. So one of the nice things about this is wherever they need to go next or where they left off is going to show up here so they don't have to guess. The content itself is down here. They can open it and start completing it. But these quick links are nice as well for them to just know, oh gosh, this is where I can go ahead and get started. So I'm going to go ahead and click down here just for demo purposes. So I also put in some graphics and background so it looks really nice as they kind of go through. I chose the colors off of um, the emblem and also off of the website. So again, if you guys want different colors, that's great too. I created custom icons here for different activities. And then it just introduces them to this folder. So they could go down here and click here, but they also can click next. So as they go through, I'm also prompting them to understand how to navigate through as they get started. So this is where really they could potentially start. And this is just going to teach them, hey, you can open up the folders. This is how you navigate the course. Lets them know that they can navigate and move forward through this icon up here, which is this one, or these down at the bottom as well. So again, this is just orienting them to understand how to navigate. And when they're done, they click Mark Complete. And in the gradebook itself, it would just give it a check mark, letting the who's ever in charge of tracking this progress would know that they've completed this. And that is one question I have along the way, is if there are any types of activities that would need to be monitored. I'm assuming no, because it's self-paced. But if there are, and they would be coaches or mentors or teachers in here, we could discuss that as well. So I'm going to go ahead and click
Nikki, I
continue.
would like to, Nikki, before we move
Yeah.
on there, I would like to stop there to get some feedback from the customs team on assessments. Now, we could pull a few assessment questions and create assessments for the participants. That simply means they would have maybe 5 or 10 questions on each of the topic areas that we want to make sure that they have picked up or they've gotten from the content. And we want to give them a pass or a fail or a grade as they're moving through the course. So what would be your feedback on that? Would you like to see some assessments as they go through the course? And these would be, of course, just answering true and false, multiple choice,
And I
computer
have,
rate them.
and Tammy, I have built those out. So the entire course is built out with assessments already.
So we
So
already have assessments. Perfect. So team
yeah, so yeah.
customs, you're all for the assessments, correct?
Yes, I think it'll be best to have an assessment because I think that would encourage officers to participate.
Perfect. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yep,
Thank
and there's two types of activities. So there's this one that I was showing you where they just mark it complete, which means I just read this. It wasn't doesn't really have any grade or weight behind it. It's just helping them navigate through. And so that's one type. And then as we go through, you'll see some that are actually tracking and they're keeping score, but again, still self-paced. Okay, so
you.
and
Perfect.
again, this is just the getting started. So really what I found in my experience is they really need to understand how to navigate. And if they've taken multiple courses, they just click through really quick. But if they haven't, then it helps with people not being confused that haven't been in there already. So then this is another one, is how do you track your progress? So I'm letting them know, hey, this is where you find your grades and your scores. And if you remember on the first course card, that was when they very first come in, they would just click on grades and be able to see that. And then it says, hey, this is where you would track your progress. So there's that. And I kept it really simple, just those two as they move through. And then the other one I had was expectations. I don't know the expectations. So this is one is still blank. So this is where another area would where it could just be their expectation is they get a certain percentage of the course correct, or maybe they, in order to be considered passing, would be an 80%, or whatever it is that you guys decide. We'll put those expectations in here so that they understand what those are. And I don't know, if it's they get a certificate or whatever it might be. That's something we need to talk about as well. Do you guys want to talk about that now, or do you want to wait till you go through the course and then we can talk about it at the end?
I guess if they have feedback, customs team, do you have feedback on, or you can think about it, and we can definitely touch on this before we end today, but we do want to put some expectation there. And for example, you can just determine if you would like a 70% passing mark
Right.
for the participant, or 80%, however you deem, we can place that there, and that they may receive a certificate of participation or expect to receive a certificate of expectation at the completion of the course. So you want to determine what you want to say there. So I'll give you some time to kind of mule that over.
Right. And the other thing we could do is a complete, incomplete, or a pass fail. There are options there where there's no greater percentage attached. It really is just you either complete it or you don't. And that's an option that we can do as well to think about. Great. Thank you. Okay, so all right, so this is where we go ahead and get started. So this is some content that I did build. So if I felt like there was a gap in learning, so one of the things that's different between a PowerPoint and, again, the online course is sometimes the PowerPoints are making the assumption that someone is face-to-face delivering this content. And so there were some gaps of delivery as we go through. So this was one that there wasn't any content for, but it felt like they needed an introduction to kind of the customs department. And so this is like, okay, great, you're done with getting started. Let's go ahead and begin. And then I took this off of the website as well. So this is just an introduction. What is the role, this responsibility, vision statement, things like that. And then I actually created a little assessment as well so that they really understood what the point of the customs department is. I can certainly take this out. It just kind of felt like it needed some type of overarching introduction outside of the airport and harbor specifically. So this is an example of an assessment as well, where it's self-paced. So this is a multiple answer, and I don't know the answers. I'm just going to go through here. This is one, and this they would all get this information by reading this. So it's a really great self-check as they go through. Some of them even have fill in the blank. I don't know what this is. So again, just putting some stuff in here. I probably should have done that, but. And then once they're done, they go ahead and submit answers. So then I can submit my answers. And then this is where kind of that grading comes in. And then one of the options that you have as far as the assessments is, oh, I got that one right. Is it would give them their feedback on their score. Now, we don't have to give this feedback because it could be if they don't pass it, they'd have to retake it. So that's an option as well, as do we want them to retake it until they pass it, which is a really good option. And so if you do that, obviously you don't want to give them all the scores, but this is when we're like, I don't really care if they pass this, or, they just can keep moving on. Where again, this is a good example of showing them that they can either come in and retake this or they can move on. Okay.
Okay, so I want to get a little feedback from the customs
Great.
team here. I know for one, because it's a self-paced course, there's probably not going to be someone interacting with the content regularly. We don't want to include fill in the blanks. Because those would, depending on your spelling errors, is the content, how sensitive is it, Nikki? Capital, spell correctly. I mean, in terms of the fill in the blank questions.
Yeah, so with the fill in the blank, I could actually put in their different versions. So as far as the editing goes or the developing of that, I could put in a capital and not capital. So I could put in the I can't remember what they're called right now, but the options for it to be correct.
The answer. Okay.
Yeah. The variations, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so
excuse me. Could I ask a question though? Because the information on this whole thing is kind of limited for me. Ms. Molly, you may be able to help me here. What is the actual goal of this whole program? What is the goal of the Customs Department? Because some of these, it was not shared with us entirely. What is the goal? What is the purpose? Who is this geared towards? And what is the purpose of it? And everything. Could you tell me what information was given to you?
Okay, so I think it's Miss Wilson. The training
Yes.
team who are on the call, we have had discussions with your training team to develop online courses to be able to offer to the Customs Department.
I mean, what
the
the
initial
Customs
request?
Department approached you, or y'all approached the Customs Department?
No, this is an
that
initiative
y'all
from the
can
government of the Bahamas. So,
Oh, this is an initiative. Okay, that's what I'm trying to
Okay.
establish. It was an initiative from the government. Okay.
Sorry, can I say something?
go right ahead.
Miss Wilson, the initial email that I sent, I think I stated in that the government had obtained this learning management system platform. I think I gave a little brief synopsis in the initial email that was sent out, but before we even,
Okay,
went
so
to
this
ask
is
for
going to
content. So this is what it is now, the
Okay.
LMS system. I think I gave a description. Not I think, I know I did in the initial email. So if you go back to that, you'll see a little
Okay.
history on it.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
but
this is going to be this whole initiative. This is something new the government is going to do. And I'm thinking like iCloud. iCloud is for the entire government department, or this is specifically for the Bahamas Customs Department.
government agencies is what I'm told, but we're dealing specifically with customs.
But I mean, that's what I'm trying to establish. So it's going to be for various
Yeah,
other
let Miss Molly
agencies are
speak to
also
that.
going to have a similar platform.
Okay, so what I'll
Miss Molly.
probably do, or what we can probably do, Ms. Wilson, is after you would have perused through the email and you have further questions in regards to what the system is going to be offering, then I can most definitely address those concerns for you. But we are now at
Mhm.
the point where we have approached customs for you to create a course, and I'm pretty sure this will be available to all customs officers. If you would like it to be for
Mhm.
just newly enrolled or newly accepted customs officers, then that's who we'll be
Mm.
for. So as we move forward, though, we can also develop additional courses. But this is your initial course, and that's why we're going through the content. That's why we collected the content, we created the course for you, and you can give feedback on what you find in the course. In particular, though, this session is to make sure that we have provided accurate content in your course that the participants will be taking. Okay, so please feel free to reach out once you would have
Okay.
gone over with your team and
Okay.
read through the content. Thank you. All right, so Nikki, we can continue, but we did have a question here on
Okay.
those questions. Are you okay with the assessment that we just saw? This will be the actual content and the questioning and the assessments that the participants will see. Now, we will give you access to this, the training team, and for all persons designated to be what we call, the instructor of the course. So you will have access to the course eventually, but this is only the initial draft. And then we go back and we make the changes to what you may request. So the question here, Ms. Cindy and the team is if this is okay to have, this little brief, not so stressful type of assessment at the very beginning, just giving them some content on what customs is about, testing their knowledge on that. How do you feel about that? Yes, they feel okay. Because there's no response. Thank you. So I guess it's all good. If it wasn't,
Okay, somebody would say.
yeah. All right,
Okay, great.
then continue.
Okay, so then the next one is, so that was kind of the getting started and an introduction. And then the next one is we're starting with the airport. So I did the airport as a folder and then the harbor as a folder. So what I'm going to do actually for a second is I'm going to jump back and just show this was the course landing page. And then as we went through, you can see now as the learner, they're getting a check mark as they completed those. So they visually have a way to track their progress. And then now again, I have a folder for the airport and a folder for the harbor. And now we're jumping into the airport. Now, again, I do want to bring up what's nice for the learner is if they do get out and come back in, we'll let them know, hey, this is where you visited last, and this is what's up next. So if they don't want to dig through the course, they could click here and go right into that. So these are just some pieces of kind of understanding the flow and the navigation of the management system. So we'll go ahead and now get into the airport piece. So I'm going to jump to the airport PowerPoint. So as I said, I'm going to kind of go over that, um, what you guys gave me and how I translated that into the to the course. So here is the introduction. And so these are some other pieces that I did come up with. Again, this is where I wanted to make sure it's accurate and correct. And as Temi was saying, we can help you get in and read through this and make sure everything's good. It would probably be best to put you guys in as a student first, so you can walk through it and just say this piece needs changed or whatever it might be. So then here's the introduction. So I took this and put these in here. And then these are the few pieces that I've added in. And again, this is me being an instructional designer of understanding kind of what it takes to help students understand what they're doing. And then they would be able to jump into the course. So I'm going to go ahead and click next, and then we're going to start all about the airport. So as you can see, I did put in the headers at the top of everything. So it's nice, it's clean, it looks professional and formal. And then in here, this is, let me see. So then I think this is, yes. So this is then what I took. This is the information you gave me. And then I put this in here to help them understand a little bit about the airport. And then what I tried to do under each is, again, have a little self-reflection and a self-check. So it's just, hey, making sure that they did read through it and they'd be able to answer some questions. So that's the nice thing about self-paced. When adding in these type of self-assessments, it doesn't feel like an assessment per se. It just feels like a check for understanding. And then it also gives you the comfort to know that, hey, if they're answering these correct, they're learning the content. So again, I'll just put something in here so we can see. Again, this is where also you could decide, sorry, my Zoom's getting in my way. You can decide how you want this to display. Do you want them to display the answers, or do you want them just to retake it if they didn't get a certain percentage? I would suggest in self-reflections that they do just retake it until they get a certain percentage, because if you guys don't care, but otherwise they just go through, read the answer, and like take it again. And again, that's up to you if that's what you want and if that's okay. Okay, so then the next slide that I have was the rank of officers. And I did this in the airport, and then you guys also had a slide for the harbor as well. So in here, I did also try and find some graphics off the website, or if you guys provided me some graphics, I put those in. But I always think it's nice to have a nice professional image for the learner, so it just doesn't feel like a lot of text all the time. And then this, again, you guys provided me just this. So I actually went out to the website and grabbed a little more context. So again, if you were a learner and we just gave them this, they might not really understand the importance of officers and the importance of their ranks and things like that. So as you're giving me content, please make sure you could even put it like in the notes down here. Like, what is the text? What is the context around this? If you were presenting this to somebody, what would you say? So those are some of those gaps that were missing, that I added in, but I happily added them because I wanted to you guys to kind of see. So what I went out and I just found a few different pieces of text and context to really kind of bring it home. And then what I did is I created a flashcards. So one of the things I wanted to do was actually have the current picture of that person if possible. So these are some areas where it'd be nice to have the picture, and then they'd be able to flip it over and see the name and then what their rank and role is. So these are some ways to just doing some self-reflection that's not, like the multiple choice answer, things like that. This gives it a little more visual context, if you will. Okay. Okay, and the next one is you had an icebreaker. So those are a little bit different to do in here. But what I did is I created an activity for this. So again, this is what you gave me. How much do you know? And these are some of the pieces that I'm not sure on the answers. So I would need to make sure that you guys let me know what the answers are. So when you do have something like this, for me as a developer, I'm looking at this and I'm trying to figure out what type of activity in the platform I can use to mimic what you want done here. But I don't know, again, what the right answers are. So when you give me something like this, please make sure that I have the answers. And again, you could put that in here in the presenter mode.
Okay.
So
So let's stop here because I see a hand. So we have a question. That's Ms. Wilson. Go right ahead.
This is just an observation. When you spoke about the rank of the officers, I don't know if it's necessary to put the names of the persons who are presently stationed at the airport, because we constantly move. We can be transferred tomorrow, and then somebody else would assume that post. So if we just put the rank itself and put no name to it, I think that would be the best way to go because of frequent transfers.
Okay, yeah, that's great. Perfect. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I will take that out, and that's really good feedback. So let me go back one. Actually, I'll do this and I'll go back one and then kind of get your feedback on what you think here for a second. So this is just a quick example. So this is, again, dragging and dropping. We're trying, what I don't like to do is just have multiple choice and multiple answer and things like that. I want it to be a little more interactive, because we find in instructional design, if they're actually physically doing something, they have a lot more engagement and a lot more understanding. So do you have any feedback on this one before I go back to the other one? Okay, so for this one, I just would need the answers of which one's correct. So if somebody could at some point give me those answers, that would be great. So I'm going to go ahead and submit this. if what feedback we want here. Okay, so let me go back one because I want to talk about that. So as far as the flashcards, are the flashcards then maybe not necessary? Is there something else I can put on here if you don't want the person or the current person? Or would it just be, hey, just read this? Or I could even do flashcards, I guess, of the different types of ranks. Do you guys have suggestions here?
I think the flashcard would add some flair to it, but I think without names.
Okay. Okay. Great. I'll just
Maybe we
kind of,
can put the rank of the officer, and is there a description that may go along with the ranks, Ms. Wilson?
I don't think the description is necessary because as long as you're in management, some of the responsibility kind of overlap.
Mhm.
So I think just the rank would be sufficient. I don't know if anybody else have any suggestion about that. Maybe somebody else have a better suggestion. Fiora, do you have any suggestions about that?
Only because if
I
we
pretty
need to
much
do
agree
that.
with Ms.
Mhm.
Wilson. The rank, I mean, for knowledge at the beginning, where she had the information with customs, because most of the time we identify our rank with our bars. So with the flashcard on that, she could just have the bars with the different ranks.
Yes,
that's a
our epaulets. Yeah, that's good. That's
Yeah.
nice. Yeah, that's good.
okay, good. And so then if you guys would give me some information about which the ranks and the bars, and then I will create that and fix that.
That's great. Okay, so what we will request then is that
Okay.
the customs team, yes, if you can forward over, and if it's in a photo, that'll be great. Photo the way of how you have your bars, that'll be great to match up to those ones.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good idea, Tammy.
Hope it's online. Make it easier. I hope they're online.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great. Thank you. Okay. So I'll go ahead and keep going unless you have feedback for that one. So then the next slide that I got was the purpose of the airport. So again, this is where I grabbed an image. I believe this one was off the website. And just so this was also where, see, let me see. I did add a little bit of context. Overview of the purpose. Yes. So there were some
I'm
pieces
sorry to
that,
stop you, but what
yeah,
was the number of the slide that you needed the answer to? There was a number. Can you give me the number of that slide,
the
please?
ranks.
No,
It
not the
was
ranks. The slide and drop activity. That one right there. That was number 6.
6. Yeah.
Great.
Thank you, Tammy. Okay, so yes, so this is where I took the information and I put it in. I added an image. I sometimes will add a transition because sometimes it feels weird going from one concept to the next without a nice transition. So sometimes I added those. And those are things also to think about is, if I was giving this presentation face to face, what type of transition would I be giving to this? Is there one? And things like that. Okay, and then this is the information. And then I took, let's see, then you had processing. I think I combined these into one. So we talk about, oh yeah. So you had the different purposes below in the slides. Here we go. And then I just combined the information from like these next few slides into this next activity. So what we talk about was the purpose. This is the information from you guys. And then I just said, okay, this is these are protocols. What are these procedures or purposes? I don't know if I'm saying that right. And then I broke that down into then how you guys had this divided. So then we talk about the primary inspection, the secondary inspection protocols, and then I broke these down individually and added some images again for more flair and making it feel a little more real world. So here we talked about, let's see, I think I had. So, and you can see some of these, I wasn't really sure. And this is a good learning experience as well. So I wasn't like completely sure like how to display these because there was like for example, there was this one, but there wasn't any information about it. Right. So again, if I was giving this presentation, I wasn't sure the context around it. I kind of just guessed based on the context of the other slides that it came with. And so those are some of those pieces where, I really need any type of text, any information you want to give the learners, I need to have on a slide somewhere or in the presenter notes. So here we have the
Okay, we have
1.1.
one more question there,
Yeah,
Nick. Go ahead.
yeah.
Just an observation. A lot of these photos, I guess you got them off the website. I think what we need to do also, Ms. Evans, you can listen. We have to give her probably some more update. We probably have to take some photos of the actual hall with us really, really working at this time and probably submit those because what she has with her, not updated photos and have very probably little to do with what we do from day to day. So she's going to need some updated photos, certainly.
Yeah, great. Thank you. Yes, and I did take a bunch of these um off of the PowerPoint. So if you and what would probably be best is as you go through this as a student, we'll get you guys a login where you could say, for this activity, this one would be processing passengers, put this image underneath the purpose of customs, put this one under over 1.1. Right. So you would just be able to tell me exactly where that image is and where you want it to go.
No problem. We can do that.
Perfect. Thank you. And then this was talking about a little bit more in detail about the primary and secondary examinations. I did actually create some graphics that helped kind of, again, make that flow and pull everything together. So we added a little bit more about the traditional baggage. And then one of your slides was passengers that are suspect, or I shouldn't say a suspect, should be, I'll fix that, of legal activities and smuggling. What do you do? So then I took this information and then that was, I think, got through this slide here. Yeah. So that was all those slides kind of combined. And you can see how I took those and tried to make it play really nicely and feel like an activity. And then at the end, we have some self-checks. So this is the test your knowledge again of going through and just answering some questions. Okay, let's submit this. I have to submit in order to go through because I did set it up so that they have to complete everything in order to be able to get a completion for this. So then we'll go to the next one. Okay, so this was the 2.1 procedure for processing passengers. So again, this is an image that I did take off the PowerPoint. I added an introduction here. So transitions I felt like were missing. So again, those transitions are going to be really nice to have. Because you could see here, this is kind of just what was given and I had to kind of take it and make it all make sense as we move through. So then we broke down into how to process an arriving passenger, 2.2 and 2.1.1. I again created some graphics. I put in the actual form so they visually could see that. And then you talked about going digital. So just introducing them to the app that's letting them know, hey, there's this app. And I go into a little bit more detail about this in a different activity. I believe maybe it was this one. No, I did go into detail here. So saying, hey, we have this app. This is why we use it. This is information that I grabbed as well of helping them understand why they're using the app. That wasn't on the PowerPoint. But again, anytime you can have some clarification about why or what they're doing it for, then this was all I had. So this was the only slide that I had. So I took that and kind of added some context to help them. And then I also took this off of the website. So if this isn't correct, let me know, but it's saying, hey, here's an overview. This is what the passenger is going to see. And it kind of helps them understand of what the passenger is going through. What are the different functions of each type of the form. And then I have another drag and drop. So helping them kind of understand and play with the forms and then kind of what the passenger is going to see. And then we talk about the 2.2, 2.21, and 2.22. So these are some of the exemptions. I created some graphics here, again, visually to help them understand. And then I wasn't sure if I wanted to do another test your knowledge here, but I can put this in as well. I probably would, but I think I wanted to kind of get your feedback on those as we kind of move through. So do you have any feedback on this one before we move on? Okay.
And as you're going through this,
Yeah.
I think we have to go back. I think, Ms. Evans, we're going to have to go back and review some of the information that was sent. And I think you need more information that is more relevant information that than what we would have now that I understand better what this
Mhm.
is all about, because we did it in PP, but you don't need PP, you need some more detailed information.
Yeah.
So we will have to go and revise some things.
Yeah, and that's great.
Okay,
And
so that
that's
this is basically the whole thing.
yeah, and that's the reason for this is to really understand kind of what the goal is and to have you see a visual of what the end product could be, and then I'm happy to go in and just change some text and whatever add some
Yeah.
images, whatever it is that you think. But then as we move forward, if there are more courses,
Yeah, and it has to be more topical and it has to flow better because
yeah,
it certainly isn't a good flow.
yeah,
So it
exactly.
needs to flow, but it need to be more topical.
Mhm.
Definitely need to be more topical.
Yeah,
And it need to flow better than it is flowing now.
yes, exactly. And that was
Now
kind
that
of
I understand what it's all about.
good, 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 good. And that was the whole point of this is the flow was really off from a PowerPoint. And so it was really hard for me to kind of create flow. So this was my attempt to kind of
Understood.
show you of that. Yep. So this is great. Yeah, this is I love that because that was really the purpose. So I don't need PowerPoints. You guys could just give me
Yeah, I
a Word
understand.
document,
Yeah. I know
with
what you need. I know what you
perfect.
need.
Okay,
I
good.
know
Yeah.
what you
Yes.
need.
Love
So,
that. Okay.
with that, and that is absolutely exactly as Nikki has mentioned. This is the purpose of the session to show you exactly what was given to us and how it will be reproduced in an online course setting for content that will be
Yeah, you need yeah,
yes.
yeah, yeah.
So
I know, yeah. I know it.
yes,
I know
ma'am.
what you mean.
So with that, what we will do from this moving forward, our next step, Nikki and the whole customs team, is that we will work on getting you just a brief training on the LMS so that when you are given access to review the course as a student, you would know exactly how to do that. And then you'll be able to give us even more feedback as you actually read every single line. You may find a word that you want to change. You may find a question that you want to take out, add in. So as Nikki continues on building out your course, once she receives the additional content, in the meantime, for the customs team, you tell me every person that you would like to be on the initial training. We will provide that for you so that you will be prepared to go through your first customs course. I see your hand, Miss Evan.
Oh,
Yes. Would we be provided access to what you've already drafted? Because there
Yes,
are some modifications to it.
once you have been trained on the LMS, you will be given access to the course that she would have. And it's probably going to be this with the addition because she's going to need additional content to assist. And if there's anything you
no,
would
I
like to
understand.
change, you can just send that on through from the presentation. But you
I
will be
think
given
what
access to the
I
course.
understand what
I
I understand
right.
what Ms. Evans is saying. Ms.
Mhm.
Evans is saying what she has already done was quite amazing with what we gave her. So the additional would be if we can have this, I mean, if we can have access to it or limited access to it or whatever the case may be, we can build from what she already has in place. We don't
Okay.
need the little questionnaires or any of those.
Yeah.
But how she build our content of that we gave already, we can strengthen it from where what she has done.
You can most
Correct.
definitely get access to the course, but that's not going to be the initial step. The initial step is going to be the training on the LMS first. And then we can probably provide that. But what I'm saying is Nikki can actually do a better job building this out in preparation for you reviewing it. If you provide her with the information that she's already requested, like maybe the ranking, the photos, and the ranks that will match up. You provide photos, the additional graphics that you would like. So let's get her as much as we can. So as we are doing our part and preparing you to access the system, you can still be working on your course.
Yeah, exactly. And as you go through, as Tammy was saying, you'll have this exact version. If there are modifications between now and when Tammy does the training, I will make those. So as much as you can send me or get done before that training, great. I will absolutely make those changes. Um, um, I guess, Tammy, what you're saying though, right, is they won't know all of the content or be able to go through it until they see it as a student, right? And then we'll make some of those full changes. So
Right,
that makes,
right,
yeah,
exactly.
makes
But I'm sure you would want to have those graphics and to be able to fix that the cards
yeah.
a little bit more to the content before they get access to it. But in
Yeah.
addition, that what on the other side they're wanting to have this to be able to make the changes. But in reality, you have the slides. So if you go through the slides and you see that there's transition needed, content needed for each slide, that's what Nikki is asking for. Because we will in another week or two provide you with the LMS training, but Nikki can be working. She does not like to be idle, I can tell you that much. She does not like to be idle. So if we can, whatever we can give her in the meantime, we can keep her, you know, keep her working on the course. And then as soon as we're done with your introduction to the LMS, you'll have access to this exact course that she's building. And we can
Yeah.
continue with the edit.
What is the
Ms. Evans?
timeline, Miss Molly? Because what is the timeline? I'm very, very busy this whole month of May.
Okay, so I think you can see Miss Hinsey and the training team on the timeline that I provided for them, and you guys can discuss it and let me know if you want to make some slight adjustments to it. I'm a little flexible on that, so you guys can probably discuss that, and then you can get back to me.
Okay.
All right. Ms. Evans? Okay, that's it for the question. Any further question?
No, I just was going through, I'm making my notes with some of the things that I've already viewing that she has up. For instance, the C17 form. So that's why I was asking about viewing it more to help with the modification. But I'll write the notes, and then when we do the modification on our end, then she'll see where changes needs to be made.
Yes, absolutely. So, and like I said, as you're preparing the small things that she's already requested, if you know that there's something that you came across that you would like to see added to the course, in the meantime, you can definitely update the document, either the PowerPoint presentation with the notes, or if you want to just, write type out content, remember, you can go right back into your presentation and type in the notes pane exactly what you would want to see happening here on a slide, right? And then she can adjust that in the course. Only because we have to truly get you trained up on the LMS, the use of the LMS first. So with that, go ahead, Nikki, if you can give us a wrap up, any additional things that you may like before we wrap up this.
Okay, and I do because it's recorded, obviously you guys can go through this, and I haven't even got to the Harbor one, so I'll go through the Harbor one really quickly as well too, so they have a chance to see maybe an opportunity to make some changes there. These assessment questions I'm not going to go through. You guys will be able to, once you get in as a student, to look at those in more detail and see if they're correct or not. So I'm just going to really go through kind of the text where you guys can kind of look back at, that was, I think, a different one. Yeah, sorry. That was the same one. Let me go through. And just kind of go through this really quickly. You can pause the video and read it, right? So there's an opportunity for you to provide more feedback there. So this is the conclusion of the airport one, and then it's going to jump into the harbor. So I'm going to go through the harbor one just really quickly, Tammy, if that's okay. Just again, so you can kind of see what I received and kind of some of the differences Now, this one had a little more context around it, so I was able to do a little bit more with this one. But you get the point from seeing the airport one as well. So here's the introduction. I actually took this exactly, put this in here. I made a couple of self-reflections. So I did just a chunk of information and then a couple of self-reflections through this one because this one had a little bit more detail around it. We also had the rank of harbor or the rank of officers. So again, I'm just going to go through here. Those were the two pieces of context that I had. And then let me go through again. Oh, I have to complete it. Sorry, I shouldn't have made these that way. Let me do this really quick. But you can see as a learner, that is going to force them to complete things, which I think is a really good way to go about it. Okay, so then this was the rank of officers. This again, where I did put in the names, where I would take those out. We would change the flashcards to what you guys thought made more sense, which would be the bars, which is great. And then we had an overview. So then I just took this overview and this information and put it in, added a graphic, and then again did just a quick self-reflection. And then you had, this was continued. I think that was all in one. Okay, these were just kind of some pieces that I had them just do some self-checks as they kind of read through this. So it keeps them engaging. I know it might kind of feel like a lot, but as an instructional designer, I find that if we keep asking them to do things, they stay much more alert, knowing that they're going to be questioned about it, and they learn better. So it really is a strategy of helping them learn as we go through too. Okay, so and then this one was, I did have some questions. Let's see, what was this one? Challenges. So you did have a slide in here on some challenges. But it didn't have some context around it. I don't know where that went. Like, for example, here's some images that I wasn't really sure about. I'll just kind of go through again so you can see. I didn't have a lot of context on that one, so I just kept kind of going. All right, so then we jumped down to okay, the documents. So then I went through, these are just some of the slides that talked about some of the documents where I combined that again, a little bit of what I did with the airport, where what are the documents required, put in some graphics, kind of just made it look nice. Now, again, if you're a learner and this is all you're getting, the question is it enough, right? I think we need some more context around this. So this is another one I think that should be built out just a little bit. And then I just had some self-check. And then I think, and then let's see, those were the documents. Let me see what I did here. Other duty. Oh, you had an other duty. So this is just some context there. And then the conclusion. So very similar to the airport one, very similar gaps to the airport one as well, where if you, as you go through this, you think about, I'm a learner. Am I actually getting all the information I need to learn and be successful in this area? So I think overall, we have a really good start. The point of this is to figure out what those differences are and we get them fixed, and it'll be a wonderful, great course.
Yes, absolutely. Nikki, I think you did a fabulous job with the content that we provided. And as we indicate, and you've indicated that you'll probably be able to send over the additional content that anything that customs team can give us, we'll provide that for you. You can continue building out. Everyone will receive a recording of the meeting today. So as you mentioned, you can go back and check and see exactly the slides that Nikki had shown. You can pause. You can see exactly what's on the slide. In the meantime, Krishana and I will put together another brief session so that we can get everyone comfortable and signed up on the LMS, so that you can be prepared to review the course.
And the other thing, the piece to talk about, Tammy, also with the team or the customs team, is how you want the scores to display. Do you want points? Do you want pass fail? Do you want complete,
Okay.
incomplete? Is there another word that makes more sense? So
Okay.
there's a lot of custom options when it comes to what they see as far as their score and their progress. So that's another
great.
conversation they should think about.
Okay, do I have another question? Ms. Lindsay? I think I saw your mic open. Oh, no, you closed it.
No.
Okay. All right. So before we leave our call today, if there are any additional comments, please reach out. I don't have emails for, I think, Miss Wilson, um, Miss Evans, nor do I have for Superintendent Mortimer. So it'll be great to get your emails. And by the way, I'm realizing that you are individuals who were not introduced to the Ministry of Finance team, and that's myself and Krishona Adderley. So I'll just give you a little briefing so that everyone will be aware. I am the consultant on the LMS implementation team from the Ministry of Finance. The government of the Bahamas has the initiative to implement this learning system for all departments. We are starting initially as a pilot group customs department, and that's why everybody has been commissioned here today or have been given the mandate to kind of provide the content. We want to offer online and virtual learning to our um, our employees or to the civil servant. Okay, and then Krishana, are you there? You can introduce yourself.
Yes, I am Krishana Adderley. I work within the Ministry of Finance, and I am also on the implementation team. I guess the project lead from the Ministry of Finance. So me and Miss Morley, we work very closely together to just make sure that this platform really gets off the ground.
Absolutely, yes. And then, of course, we have our external partners like Nikki, who is helping us to bring this project to fruition. So with that, if there are any other comments, questions, concerns, please, you can reach out to myself or Krishana. Krishana, our emails, please. Can you give those very quickly in the chat? Can you type them very quickly in the chat for them, just in
Sure,
case?
no problem.
And then I will also reach out to the customs team or Ms. Hinty can give me all the additional emails, but you guys will have ours. So Shauna will type those in the chat and you can copy them quickly before we end the meeting today. So I'll stop the recording